Alright, I'm here to meet this guy, Brian. He had an Ovation Ultra for sale. I had an Ovation Ultra back in the day when I lived in Arizona. I was going to use it as a down payment to buy this guy's Crown Victoria from him. But I guess he wound up keeping his Crown Victoria and gave me the guitar back. So here's, this guy said he had one for sale and eager to check it out. How do I switch this around? Hey, how's it going? I'm Chris. I'm here about the guitar.
Good to meet you. I'm Brian. Alright, here it is.
Right on. You got it tied shut?
Yeah, the latches are broken.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a Strat case that had the top latch broke. I put a belt around it.
Yeah, it works.
Alright.
Yeah.
Awesome. The iconic fiberglass bolt. Alright, thank you. I bought this Ovation a couple weeks ago from a guy who lives nearby. I was able to talk his asking price down a little bit for a few reasons. It's an acoustic-electric, but the electronics don't work, so it's just acoustic. But this big, deep bowl jumbo back gives it like a really big booming sound, man. I really like the sound of it. Another thing we checked out when I was buying the guitar was these surface cracks. Pretty much all Ovations get these cracks on them. It looks like this was dropped. I don't know if you can make it on the camera. There we go. Or something fell on it right there at that point and spider webbed out, and then all the way up here. That crack in the finish goes. But like I said, pretty much any old Ovation you find is going to have cracks like that in the finish, and it doesn't stress me out too much. Then, of course, the case, the latches are busted. There's no latches on those two. This one, it won't stay shut. Keeps popping up. But I have plans to fix that. A couple months ago I bought some kind of old acoustic guitar that was made in Germany, and I got this box with it. I haven't used the box for anything yet, and I've decided to take it apart and use these latches to fix up this guitar case. So while I'm working on that, I'll tell you the story about the old Ovation Ultra that I owned probably like 8 or 9 years ago now, back when I lived up in the mountains of Arizona. Here's some old footage of that first Ovation Ultra I owned. Very similar to the one I just bought, except it's not a cutaway, and a different color scheme. I called that one a reverse blue burst, whereas my new one is like a gray or silver burst. The preamp didn't work in that old one either, and it had some small surface cracks as well. It also had some neck separation issues, which scare the crap out of most people. But I got it for decently cheap, and it came with its original hardshell case. I bought it when we lived up in the mountains of eastern Arizona, and I already had a little bit of a guitar collection going on at the time. I let a friend borrow it. This guy I worked with named Keith. He loved that guitar, man, and we made plans to use it as a down payment for his car. My wife and I needed a second car, and he had a Crown Victoria, a retired police interceptor. I think the plan was for me to give him the guitar and like $500 for his car, but then something fell through with the truck he was planning to buy, so he had to keep his Crown Vic. He gave me the Ovation back, but he fixed the neck with glue and bar clamps, so I was happy. Then we moved down to the desert, down to Phoenix, and for the year that we lived there, the Ovation just sat in its case in the closet. I took it with me to move to Washington, and was dismayed to discover that somewhere along the line the neck repair had come undone, perhaps due to the dry weather down there in Phoenix. I broke even on the deal eventually by selling the case to someone who needed it for his 12-string balladeer. And then Eventually, finally, I sold the guitar, super cheap, to some guy who was excited to practice a neck repair. And now here I have another Ovation Ultra.